You know, in Florida, a lot of people are searching for a proposed state law, and here's what it would do. It would ban smoking in cars if kids under 13 are in the vehicle. A lot of mixed reaction from this today. Some people love the idea. Others who aren't necessarily against it aren't saying that it shouldn't be a law. And then you've got some people who are just dead set against this thing saying it goes too far. So let's talk with some of our viewers here about it. Kristen Hall is against the ban. Jean Sager is for it. Ladies, thank you both for being with us. Let me ask you first, can I have a show of hands? Who among you have kids? Do either of you have kids? You both have kids. Excellent. Yes. Okay. So, Kristen, talk to me about why you dislike this ban.
First, let me say that I absolutely hate smoking because I want to get that out there now. We've had family members that smoke. We have family members that have lung cancer, and I think it's a disgusting, disgusting habit. But I don't want somebody to tell me that I can't feed my kids something, and I feel like this is a slippery slope. I feel like this is something that shouldn't be passed as a law, that the government shouldn't regulate how we parent. And I think that that's kind of what this boils down to.
So this isn't so much about health. This is about government overreach, in your opinion.
Yes, that's what I think. Correct.
All right. All right. So then what about you? Kristen, what do you think? What do you think, Jean, about the ban? Because I know that you are wholeheartedly against it.
No, I'm wholeheartedly for the ban. You know, when I wrote about parents smoking in the car with their kids for the stir about 2 years ago, we found that there was a statistic that said as much as 22% of parents in America are still smoking in the car with their kids. And our readers at the stir were just shocked that their parents were actually still doing this. And I think the real reason that we need to have this law is because we have people who aren't heeding the warnings that, as Kristen said, smoking is disgusting, smoking is dangerous, and people aren't doing what they need to do to protect their own kids.
Yeah, well, I do need to make a point that there are 7 states, including California, Vermont, Arkansas, that have already passed bans similar to this one, and they did so as early as 2006, back in 2006. So I'm wondering, Jean, when you hear that other states have done it, do you feel as though your rights as a parent to make your own choices are going to be limited, as Kristen said?
At some point, we have to realize that our kids have rights too, because, you know, our kids have a right to be in a car where they're not subjected to something that's going to give them cancer.
Well, okay, and that's something that I want to do, because I know, you know, Kristen, you said that you were not against, that you are against smoking. You know, you don't like smoking, but there are some
Correct.
statistics out there that are really frightening. According to the CDC website, secondhand smoke, it has 7,000 chemicals in it. Hundreds of them are toxic, and about 70 of them can cause cancer. On top of that, then, you've got a report that health problems in infants and children from secondhand smoke include more frequent and severe asthma. You've got respiratory infections, ear infections, sudden infant death syndrome of SIDS, or SIDS as it's called. So when you hear that, you are a responsible parent, right? But there are
Correct.
a lot of parents out there who are not so responsible. We know that. Should we side on the air of the children as opposed to the parents in this case?
I don't think it's siding to the parents in this case necessarily. More it's siding to parents that don't smoke or parents that do smoke. Because it'd be interesting to see what a smoking parent has to say about this law that passed, or I'm sorry, that is potentially passing in Florida
Right.
and has passed other states, and if it even makes a difference there. For example, I see, and this is totally not right, we have car seat laws in our state and seatbelt laws, and yet you see countless times kids are in the back seat of a car without a car seat, without a seatbelt. Again, that doesn't make it right, but I wonder if it has the ramifications that people would potentially see that it has. Are you going to reach those 22% of people that are still smoking in a car with their kids?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you give them a ticket and there's a pretty hefty fine attached to it, they might think twice. And that is fighting for the kids, yes?
I do agree with that, you know, that might have an impact, and at the same time they might pay the fine and keep moving. I don't know. I can't speak for that part because I don't smoke, so
you're right.
You know, that's a hard part for me to weigh in on.
Well, Jean, and I want to speak just a little more to Kristen's point as well. We hear this in a lot of different laws. Once you creep into somebody's freedoms to make their own choices, what comes next. If they're going to ban the car, next are they going to ban your house? That's your home. You've paid for your house. Who are they to say what you can and can't do in your house?
Definitely a tough call when it comes to that, but we've really seen that there are certain things where kids have to be protected. I mean, we have child abuse laws, and at one point, there was an essay on the Stir about, is smoking with your kids in a car or in an enclosed space child abuse? We do have laws in this country to protect kids from things that are extremely dangerous, and the government does have to step in for kids when parents are making choices that there's a big difference between giving your kid, junk food for lunch and giving your kid terminal illness.
All right, Kristen, I want to give you the last word there to that point that
Thanks.
Jean just made.
Because, yeah, to that point exactly, on my Facebook page on Really Are You Serious, there have been a lot of people that are going to that same point disagreeing with that, because food can be dangerous. Food can cause terminal illnesses. Look at the increase in obesity. Look at the increase in childhood diabetes that has increased so much in the U.S. alone. And so do we say that parents aren't allowed to feed their kids French fries once in a while, or do we ban French fries altogether because kids can't choose if that's what their lunch is? I don't know.
Yeah, there is a gray area here, isn't there? I mean, there's fear on both sides that's driving it for sure. We appreciate both of your insights. Jean and Kristen, thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Best
me.
of luck to you and your kids.